Hi, I'm Mary Alice Haney, and welcome back to SHEMD. On today's episode, I'll be talking to the celebrity baby nurse, Nanny Connie. She's going to give us the tips and tricks that she gives her A-list families. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this one. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for a physician's medical advice. You should regularly consult your medical provider in matters relating to your own health. Nanny Connie's been with every celebrity that you can imagine. She's been in the homes of George Clooney and Amal. She's taken care of Justin and Jess's baby. That's Timberlake, for those of you that don't know that. She was with my amazing Brooke Shields, my friend Brooke Shields. She helped Tom Brady and Bridget when they brought baby Jack home.
That's right.
You name it, she's been there. And she also was the baby nurse to my little baby Gray, which is the best part of all. Connie, we're going to get into so much today. I'm so lucky to have you.
I'm so blessed to be here and to be amongst someone who was so instrumental in my life. I can't even thank you and pay homage enough to you. So let's continue.
Oh, Connie, so I met Connie, and I want to get into, I'm going to pretend, I can't pretend, I'm going to talk about this on the show because everybody else most likely doesn't know who you are, where you came from. But I met you through a friend of mine when I was, actually, my sister was the first. Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble for that. My sister, May, was having her first baby, and a great friend of mine, Mathiel from New Orleans, was like,
she's your sister.
Yeah, Mathiel is my sister.
That's who I was really speaking of. Mathiel is your sister.
Yeah, so she's another Haney sister. So she said, you got to have Nanny Connie. So can you just tell everybody what your background is, where you came from? And
I am Nanny Connie. I was born and raised in Mobile, Alabama, where, things moved very slowly. And I started off being, little did I know, taking care of a baby. Margie Altmaier had Jennifer Altmaier when I was 16. And I was taking care of her and did not know what I was doing there was going to be the rest of my life. So when she had her other two children, I went back to help her again. And she was from Tufts University from Boston, and she knew nothing about children at all. But I was there for her, and she was there for me, and we're still friends to this day. And Jennifer is in her 40s, and she's my first baby.
She's your first baby.
But then there came this magical fairy to my life, and she will always be that fairy in my life, and that is Mathiel and Mrs. Villery. And Mathiel had her baby. She was from Nolens. And she had her first baby over in Mobile. And Mobile is a very closed community. Let's not sugarcoat it, but that's what it is. If they have something, it's there. It doesn't grow, and the beauty doesn't shine. Well, Miss Fran Villery saw the beauty in this woman, and I was taking care of her baby. She says, this is way beyond you, sweetheart. We're going to do better for you. And from that moment to this moment, that woman is just like sprinkled fairy dust all over me and my life and my existence, because the first person was May Haney. And you were doing
Ambush Makeover. My TV channel.
Mathiel said, come see my friend. And I came in, and you were standing on the streets getting ready to do your first that's my friend. And she has a sister, and she was trying to sell me, but I was already sold. I was going to help her. So I went to May, and then I ended up going through your family and helping everyone in your family pretty much. And your mom and dad are just phenomenal. And then from that point, it was just like the floodgates just opened, because at your house, Lord heaven help us all.
There's so many kids. There's 23 grandchildren now at this point. But I remember being in New York with Brooke Shields, and we were pitching a talk show, and she found out that she was pregnant with her second baby. And it's very public that she had severe postpartum with her first baby, and she had no help with the first baby. She wanted to do it on her own, and she didn't have a baby nurse. And I said, you have got to meet Nanny Connie. She's a force of nature. And then that you came to LA and you met Brooke, and then Bridget had baby Jack, and then it became, it's just the and.
And I just want to tell you, I prayed really hard going to Brooke because I knew that I had a gift, but I wanted to make sure that it was just not going into someone's home and just showing up to hold their baby and not be able to help them. Because if you don't help that parent, you're not helping that child. And it was important to me. So when you asked me to help Brooke, it was just like, okay, I need to figure out the why and the come and the how. And so when I went in, I can remember sitting in Brooke's bathroom and we would have this huge tray of snacks and we'd sit there and she would breastfeed and she would go, oh, that was amazing. And then the joy of her and Greer, and she says, Nanny, see, I wish I would have had you. And, postpartum did not touch her the way, not to say that I was the sole reason, but it was so comforting for her to have someone who supported her, who truly supported her as opposed to her trying to tread these waters all by herself.
So I don't care if you are an A-list celebrity new mom or you're that new mom from Mobile, Alabama. When you bring that baby home from the hospital, it's terrifying.
It is.
You have no idea what to expect. And that's really what I love about what you did. And we didn't even talk about your new book. It's not even a new book. It's out there. It's a huge bestseller. It's the Nanny Connie way, where you take all the knowledge that you've given all of these families and put it in one place so that every mother has that opportunity to get your guidance and your expertise and the Nanny Connie tips that only Nanny Connie can deliver in the Nanny Connie way. And we're going to get to some of those in a minute. But what is the difference between working with a celebrity mom versus a non-celebrity mom?
There is not a hill of beans.
Not a hill of beans.
Not by no shape or form, because we were, just to go back and say, like Bridget said, I want to go out and have a walk with the baby in the very beginning, not knowing how life was going to just consume her. And then having that support of having me to help her figure out how to get out that door. Her and Emily both were, and all of them, just giving them the opportunity to be moms and giving a mom the opportunity to be a mom is so important. So it's not a hill of beans, and because postpartum is going to show up whoever you are. It's a hormonal thing. It's in a woman. It's the makeup of us. So to say that because I'm me and you're you, we're going to be different because we're different people. We're not going to be different because you're where you live and I'm where I'm living. Not by no means at all.
But you do have to, when you're dealing with George Clooney and you're having to deal with paparazzi and, just walking your baby out on the street, that is a bit different. And I've seen you in action. I mean, you're literally like, this is why I'm so glad we're actually shooting this visual image of Nanny Connie, because you do not fuck with Nanny Connie. And I've seen it in action, but.
It was so funny. Jess, bless her heart, she wanted to go to the park.
And this is Jessica Biel.
Yes, Jessica Biel. She wanted to go to the park with Silas. And we, out here, helicopters hover like flies hover to sugar. And so I said, okay, I'm thinking in my head, how are we going to do this? And I'd taken the kids. I can take the kids anywhere because no one really looks at me or connects the dots. But then she wanted to go. And I want her to have that opportunity. That's a part of her being a mother and me a part of helping her. So I said, okay, let's go at this time of day. Well, clear enough, the park that we go to, they sit at. So she wanted to go. I was like, all right. So when they figured out that she was there, they started to call the rest of the flies. And I said, okay, it's time for us to leave. And she said, okay, we're going to play a little bit longer. I said, nope, it's time for us to leave. And here's how we're going to leave. So before we got out of the sand pit, because I knew by the time we got to the car, they were going to be so on top of her making one minuscule mistake was going to be blown up that she was inept to be a mother. And that's bullshit. Excuse my French. So I said, here's how you're going to do it. I'm going to stand this way. You're going to stand in front of me and they're going to get my back, but you're going to be able to strap him in. And then I want you to walk around the car and then I'm going to get in and I'll check what you've done once I get in. She says, okay, Nanny. So it didn't make her nervous to the point that she fell apart. It made her nervous that they were hovering the way that they were hovering.
And we can't even, I mean, as
Yes.
somebody that does not, I mean, I have
Yes.
so many friends that have seen it happen to them,
Yes.
and it's so awful where they are trying to just live their day-to-day life.
The best life. And Emily is a prime example too. Emily Blunt. You know, I said, we would practice up in Ojai on a regular, wherever she lived. I said, listen, here's what we're going to do, how to get them in, how to take them out the car, because I want them to be their best. And they want to be their best as being a parent. They don't want to be behind closed doors. They want to be out in public. They want their child to see that they're real parents.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't tell their kids. They don't go, let's get this straight. And a celebrity does not go around telling their kid, I'm this person. They go around telling their kid, don't spit up on me right now because I want to keep this shirt on for a little bit longer. You know, so they want to have that same growth with their child as they had with their parents growing up.
Yeah.
So to teach them how to be a parent when they're out is super important as opposed to teaching them how to be a parent when they're home because they're judged. And then that weighs on them because now it lives forever because people will go back and refer to something that happens in their life and they, oh, well, she did this when she was carrying her child outside or whatever. So it's important for me, just as being this person that comes into their home, to help them be a better person. And that's what makes me, I guess, me stand outside of all the other nannies because they show up and say, or baby nurses, and this is no slight to any baby nurse, but I go way beyond
Well, you
the
become part of the
ramifications.
family.
Yes.
I mean, it really is.
Yes.
For those of you that are lucky enough to afford a baby nurse, and it is expensive, and it is really...
It's gotten worse.
Yeah, you ain't cheap, Miss Nanny Connie. But I think that one of the main things I really wanted to do and what you did in your book, and we talked about this a lot, was how do you give your knowledge and your tools to every woman, the women that can't afford you, the women that are, you know, sometimes they can't afford even the best doctor to see their children. And it's like, these are the basic things. So let's talk about coming home from the hospital. So again, whether you are a major celebrity or whether you're a new mom, do you usually go to the hospital? Are you meeting them before? Are you meeting them at the house? Like, what are the things that what's your big tip to get out of the hospital?
My first thing is to show up before the baby comes. Now I need to build that relationship with you, so you know who I am. And
Because
then
you're living in the house.
I'm a part of your whole fiber. I'm baking potato chip cookies and frying chicken and making gumbo and making biscuits and whatever I can make to make you happy because you need that comfort. You really do. You don't know how much you need that comfort, but you really need that comfort when you're in that moment. So that's where I am. So I show up prior to you coming home so you know me. Now, when it's time for you to come home from the hospital, I ask, do you want me to go to the hospital and help you come home, or do you want me to meet you at the house? And they will tell me. But I will always, if we're out of state, I fly in before that baby comes, unless you have the baby long before time. But before you come home, I'm there at the house making sure that we have groceries in the house, we have things set up, because I'm like, my dear, I'm shutting it down. Clink, clink. Ain't nobody coming in. And it's just us, the nucleus of that family.
And if you can, for a new parent listening to this,
yes,
I know that's your one thing. I mean, I remember other than close family, you're like, we aren't showing this baby off. Like, not at the beginning. At the beginning, it's like, we've also lived through COVID when I had my babies before that, but it's about like this little nuclear family.
Yep.
Everybody's going to stay home. I remember my parents came out for Gray, and they were just convinced I was going to have this baby, 3 weeks early, because my mom had all 5 of us 3 weeks early, and they parked themselves out here for 3 weeks, and I didn't. I got, at 40 weeks I got induced, and I just remember coming home, and my dad is a Southern dad. He just, I just remember like lifting my boob up, sticking that baby. I mean, like, he barely breastfed, but like, you taught me how to breastfeed. You taught me how to, like, you created. So give some of like, what are some of the things that you tell all new moms to do, or that you help them do, that you can tell them when they first come home?
When they come home, like having milk in the refrigerator, like regular milk, almond milk now that everybody drinks it. you need to have beer in the refrigerator because there's dark beer. Matt and Lucy, Matt Damon. Matt used to sit in the room with me and upstairs, and Lucy would be breastfeeding, getting ready to breastfeed Gia, and it would be like that. That was the hub. Matt would have Negro Modelo, and Lucy would have her beer. But that was everybody was happy because the dark beer brought in the milk. And it was comfort. And it was like, I didn't know I could do this. And then Dad was happy because he got
He's
to have
also drinking the beer.
He got to have a beer. And he was like, and they would call me Nan. He was like, Nan, is it beer time? And I was going, yes, son, it is. So we'd camp out. And this is when we were just in the very beginning. But that was, those are the things that you need to have. You need to have comfort foods like that are comfort for both of you, because and I told Justin was so funny when I went to their house, and it's not name dropping, but just to give you where this all comes from and telling parents what to do. I went to see Justin, and the whole time I'm doing the tour of where we're going to be with the baby and stuff, the only thing I can get from Justin is, Nanny, I love my sleep. Nanny, I sleep down here. I turned to him, I said, son, if you tell me one more time that you need your sleep, I'm going to put you to sleep right now. And he go, okay, I won't say, but I said, what did I tell you? So we, and it's true. And so when I did sit down with them to talk about, if you could tell yourself, your non-baby self, what's an important tip for you now that you have a child, he goes, sleep while you can, sleep. Because you can't get it. You can't get enough sleep. As a mother, you can't get enough sleep. As a dad, you can't get enough sleep. And a father needs to be just as involved in this as a mother needs to be involved in this, because, for 9 months, she's carried this little being and made him. And it's not to say, tag, now things are over, that the baby's here. Hell, you're just getting started. That's why it's called the fourth trimester. That's why I named my book The Fourth Trimester, because there's so much this unspoken about that fourth trimester, the postpartum that can last for 2 years, that the mom feeling the shame about her body that needs to, like they need to pop back and be this person. Just because they've dropped that baby don't mean that they've dropped everything. They're just starting, you're just putting those shoes on. The shoes don't fit. The clothes don't fit. And if you have an expensive wardrobe, Mary Alice, we're going to try to get in those shoes and those clothes. So you want to try to figure all this out, and to have someone to tell you prior that this is going to be a part of your life helps you to be comforted by that person. Your husband doesn't come in and expect you to have things the way that they were before. And to have someone to tell you, like, because you had one child does not mean that when you have baby number 2, you only know the birthing scenario, and that can change. Now you have 2 children. How do you balance that one? How do you have a 2-year-old and an infant?
That's the hardest thing I've found.
The limp and drool. You've done the limp and drool one time, but hell, you got a 2-year-old that's trying to do all of this, and then you got the limp and drool. Now how do you do that? And be yourself and support your husband, and have a career, So hello.
I just remember, first of all, breastfeeding was not easy for me.
It's not.
And I didn't get milk, and I got a little bit, and you just, and I just remember sitting there, and I had those pumps on, and it was just like, wah, wah,
and it's not even the same
wah.
anymore, sweetheart.
Really?
No, they've changed. They have different, and I won't even name the brands, but they have them now where you can walk around and they're cordless, and they, and it's just,
this was hooked up to,
yes.
I was like a science experiment.
Yes.
And I remember looking at you, and I was like, do I have to keep doing this? And you're like, you don't.
No.
That's the choice. I want you to make the best choice
That's
for
right.
you with breastfeeding, but some women could breastfeed for, God bless them. I wish none of my sisters got any milk, except for maybe Meg, who had no boobs. And it was so crazy. She might have gotten lots of milk. There was one of us that had milk. The rest of us, forget it. But, those are the kinds of you have this feeling when you have a new baby that you're doing it wrong.
Yes.
And to have somebody—
You're being judged.
Yeah, you're being judged. And to have somebody, and it doesn't have to be a baby nurse. It could be a best friend. It could be a husband. That's really what you need more than anything in that moment, is to tell you that your choices are the right choices. I mean, I remember May, one of my sisters, she got no milk and it was like 3 weeks and that baby was starving, like literally. And we were like, you're killing your baby. And she's like shaking and you were like, leave her alone. You made us leave the room.
But that's important because when I grew up, there were villages. There was, the house was shut down and it was respect of that village. Now in this day and time, there are no villages. So moms come home and they feel like, okay, we're going to a birthday party on Saturday. They're going to pick that calendar up right where they left off. Like, I'm giving my birth 3 days of this week, but next week we're going to do all this other stuff. No, the hell you're not. And stop judging her because she doesn't show up for it. So it needs to be echoed and shouted from the mountaintops like you're doing here. And I truly appreciate this because moms need to know and parents need to know and the village needs to know how important it is to support that woman because that child needs that skin to skin, that love, that attention, that grounding that helps them to be a better person. If you get just a little bit of the colostrum, you've done phenomenal. Right. But if you have to take over and do formula, then we're okay. And now mom can sleep and dad can sleep. And now we have a process of how we're going to do this. And now dad can do the bottles. And that was the other thing, putting the father in this process because your breastfeeding doesn't give him a pass that he doesn't have to be a part of this. Hell no. You got to help her sit up stations. You got to give her water. You got to still be a part of her process. Stop thinking because she's breastfeeding, I'm left out. And that's what a lot of fathers feel, left out because this is being continued because she's, the baby wants her. So we have to open our eyes and see this full picture as opposed to just seeing this snippet of it.
Well, I also remember, like you brought this up earlier, this feeling of wanting to get back to that, pre-baby weight, like right away, and how that was going to happen so quickly. And I remember with Gray, my friend Christy brought over this red velvet cake, and I was like, this is so amazing. I would have like 7 pieces. And I was breastfeeding, and then, then I would go get another red velvet cake. And I think I was eating like a red velvet cake every 2 days.
Pretty much.
And I looked at you and I was like, why am I not losing my baby weight? And you're like, well, it might have something to do with like the 2 red velvet cakes. But it is this, what do you tell new moms about like wanting to fit back in their clothes? And what's the advice that you—
Stop. Mm-hmm. Stop. Stop. Just stop. Stop judging yourself. Stop judging yourself on your friends. Stop judging yourself. It's not going to happen like that. It took you 9 months to create this human being. Your body morphed every month to give more room to that little person to grow and be who they are. Now you think all of a sudden everything's going to pop back in. You're not a damn rubber band. You're human. And you have to stop. I'm not going to say give yourself grace. You need the hell of stop. And the hell of stop is to stop looking at your friends because I promise you, they suffered the same way that you're going through it. And they're just trying to not give you that full picture of how it happened in their life. You're going to wear Target clothes. I can tell you, Mathilde was hilarious. She was in Mobile, she had the baby. And so she was having issues with her bottom. And like you, fashionista, true fashionista, this is where I learned about Milano Balonics and everything else is from the Haney family. The real fashions, which I didn't know anything about. So Mathilde was in Mobile, and she was like, nothing fits. And she was very depressed about this. I could tell the weight of this was on her. Besides her bottom, it was her clothes didn't fit. I said, let's go. And I took her to Target. And I'm thinking we probably tagged that name or branded that name because Mathilde and I were in there, and we have 2 baskets full of clothes and a few other little items that we went for Lucy, the first baby. I love her. And so we're in the checkout line, and Richard's at work, her husband, and he's in the shipping industry. And so she calls, she goes, Richard. And, he's thinking something's wrong because she's a new baby. And I'm in line, and the woman's looking at all these damn clothes go through the, like we're in Mobile. We don't shop like this, And Matilda is loaded down. And so she keeps going with it. And all of a sudden she gets Richard on the phone. She goes, Richard, I have my new favorite store. It's called Target. And she goes, I spent $600 at Target.
Oh my God, that is so funny. But she was comfortable.
She was.
She was comfortable in those clothes,
good.
and she couldn't fit into her other clothes. So it's also about just give yourself a break. When you just talked about her hurt bottom, I mean, I will say I'll never forget. And then I want to ask you a question specifically about this C-section versus other things. But one of the things that nobody ever tells you when you have a baby is that you can tear, and you can really tear. And I had stitches, and I didn't know that I was allergic to the stitches. So I kept having basically the stitches kept undoing.
Right.
So one day I was in the bathroom and I'm like, something is wrong. And when you pee, it hurts. So I was like, something is wrong. Yeah. I was like, Nanny Connie! I go, you gotta look.
The quasi was
the
wide.
quasi was out and you were like, we gotta go.
We gotta go.
And you packed me up and we went back to the doctor and I went straight in and got restitched. But those are the things that, and again, if you don't have Nanny Connie, bring your sister in.
That's right.
All of it,
That's right.
Having a baby is a beautiful, amazing miracle, but there's also a lot of shit involved that can go wrong.
Jessica Biel had a full-on experience with her birthing plan. She had this whole idea when we had the conversation about her and having this baby, it was like her friend in Montana had this baby, and it was a beautiful out in the woods experience, and that's what she wanted. And I went, okay, well, you go shop at that store, sister. In my head, that's what I'm saying. I'm going, And that's what I say to all of them, because you all come to me and I go, Well, when it comes, we're going to do whatever we got to do to make you feel better. So when she had the baby, it was like a 3-day experience. And I said, don't tell nobody about that, okay? But it was all her doing. Right. A lot of this was her doing because she had this vision in her head. And we have to stop those visions because we're only who we are. We're not someone else. And when you try to be someone else, you're setting yourself up for failure. And now you're really down on yourself because that's happened.
And you have this natural birthing plan, and you end up with a C-section, and you think that you've done something wrong, but you haven't. It's just the nature. Thank God we have modern medicine that can allow you to deliver this beautiful, amazing baby. But in the moment, it is true. All of the birthing plans, they go right out the window.
Hell in a handbasket. Yeah. And with a C-section, we need to understand that that's major surgery. Don't think that a C-section is something to do. I'm going to have a C-section, and I have moms who say, I'm going to plan for a C-section. So you're planning for major surgery. That's what you're doing. You're going to take all of your inners and have them set up on top of you. And then they're going to pull your baby out, and then they're going to put everything back. And now you got to heal. You got to heal from the inside out. Right. So you got to walk up the stairs backwards. You can't drive because you can't do that quick gas brake situation. So it's major. You have to think about this. These are major things that we have to think about. Having a baby is it's your plan, but you need to think your plan all the way through.
And you sometimes think, oh, C-section. I'm going to have a scheduled C-section. Right. They're just going to cut me open and give me a nice little scar, and I'm going to be jumping around. No, it's major surgery.
Right.
Modern. And how is it different taking care of twins versus single babies?
No two children are alike. Even identical twins, they are not alike. And it is a 30-minute process. You want to keep them as close as you can keep them because you don't want to have one at 2 hours having a bottle and the other, because now your whole day is shot to hell. So you want everything tight and together, and you're going to be meticulous about. I did the owners of Ruby Tuesdays. They had twins, and we had a system. Everything is very punctual. Everything is very put together, and you live by that system, because if you don't, you never have a moment for yourself. So it's important to have a tight schedule and to have everyone who's a part of that schedule know what they need to do and to do it. And don't have someone, I can't tell you enough, friends who want to come over and help you and say they're going to help. Say thank you, but no thank you. Plan for that help that's going to help you and show up and be there, as opposed to coming over and sitting down, having a cocktail and saying, or talking your ass to death and you need to have a feeding. You don't want someone who's going to be lollygagging or be a social butterfly. You want someone who's going to get in the trenches and who's going to help you. So pick your helpers wisely and put your friends on a shelf. Let them sit over there and say, girl, I'll see you in a couple of months. It's all good. And we may not be friends, but we're going to be associates later on down the road, because taking care of these children, I got you, but this is different. This is a different life.
So how do you get, what are the tips to get on the right feeding schedule and the right sleeping schedule?
In the very beginning, I always say I'm with Erin Andrews right now, and it's just like, they were talking about the baby and eating, like let him eat. And that's me. When I started learning that this was my journey and my mission in life, every time I would go to the pediatric office and and listen to the doctor speak, old, new, west, south, wherever they were, they all gave me information. And I processed that information to my advantage. And a lot of them were saying the same thing. In the very beginning, children just need to eat. They need to graze. They need to eat, kind of like you were eating that red velvet cake. Just eat.
Children and new mamas, just eat.
Just eat, because they had a buffet for 9 months. They could pull up to that buffet and eat whenever they wanted to. And if you weren't feeding them, they would kick you in your stomach or whatever and make you eat. So now you're going to cut them off? Hell no, don't cut them off. Give them that opportunity, and then they'll level off. By the time that they're 4 or 5 months, they're going to level off. They're going to start giving you every 3 hours. They're going to bump it up. When they come home, they have the little vials of formula for you to have, which I think are ridiculous. But give them a bottle. Let's see where they are. Let them set the pace. Give them burps so they have room. Their tummies are very small, but we want to give them the opportunity to come to the buffet and eat. And my job is 24/7. I'm probably one of the lost breeds. I'm a dinosaur in more regards than one, because no one is coming in your home staying 24/7 and watching your every move in the very beginning to help you have a better life. Mm-hmm. That's not someone, they're not many. And even right now, I'm training nannies, and they look at me like I have 5 heads. I don't care if I have 5. I want to make sure all 5 of my heads are hooked to this family, because that's why I'm here. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for someone who's going to be a slither of you.
No, it's true. And so you're saying for the first 3-4 months, just let them eat. Do you feel that way about sleeping too? Just let them sleep? Okay.
Let them sleep, because
so you don't sleep train them until when?
No, I don't. They're going to start sleep training. Like right now, the baby that I'm with, he's starting to stretch it out, because he's clustering all those calories in the very beginning. So at nighttime, he has a very nice bath. I still do my
I love your bath.
I have bath time, and it's a whole ritual. And Aaron and Jared, I always say they want to jump in the bathtub too. But it's a very warm bath. It's music. It's a massage, and it sets the tone for bedtime. And they know it. And then once, it's like if you get a massage, what do? You relax and you go to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's your longest stretch.
Yeah.
So it's going to push it. And the older that they get, it's going to push it longer. So what you're doing is you're sleep training, and you don't even know that you're sleep training, as opposed to your child crying and screaming and paying someone, bless us all for having a niche in life. But I sleep train from day one.
You've said this to me before, like the baby's your guide.
They're the book.
Yeah.
They're the book. That's why why do we think we don't have one particular book that everyone's rushing out to buy to have in their life? Because there is no one book. Your baby and you are the book. You're writing your own chapters. Right. They're a unique human being.
Except for the Nanny Connie book.
That's right. That's exactly right. My book is unique, and it is very important because it gives a dad see, I told you, it's right there. See, I told you. I identify with everybody. I try to put everyone in this book.
And how do you deal with a mom with postpartum, and how do you know that she's got postpartum, or what are some of the signs that you can tell for a new mom to look out for and know that she needs help?
Well, one thing that's going to always trigger it is getting back in those clothes and not being able to be in that groove that they were in with their friends. And if they're breastfeeding, knowing that I have to breastfeed one more time, or they just got finished, because growth spurts happen with babies. And that means that if you're sitting here for 40 minutes and you just had a feeding, and you go in there and start, I'm really hungry, and you're standing there eating, and I show up with a baby that wants to jump back on your boob, you're just like, I'm just a cow.
Mm-hmm. And that's how you feel sometimes.
And that's the saying that a lot of moms say. I just feel like I'm a cow. I'm not even respected as being a human anymore. So those things are very depressing to a mother. So notice if you can't have a Nanny Connie, or you don't have any kind of a village, start noticing, that quiet withdrawal of that mother. And when you start seeing that, it's because she's trying to hold on to who she is, but still represent what she's supposed to be. And that's a mother, a mother that gives. So she may be a little snippy, or she'll be saying, no, I don't want to do that. Or she'll start canceling out stuff, because she just doesn't feel like dealing. She would rather be at home and have a red velvet cake, as opposed to go out or try to do something.
You just mentioned before surrogate. So that's happening. I have several friends that couldn't have babies, and thank God we have a world in which there's so many different ways to have babies.
Yes.
You can adopt, you can foster, you can become a surrogate. You can be a surrogate for other people. So,
yes.
What's the difference between that, working with people?
I feel that that's a really unique world. By all means, it's very unique, because we've now stepped into another way of giving birth, of a mother feeling complete, but not feeling complete. So therefore, when I step into that world with a mother of that not feeling complete, it's important for me to make her feel that, because those feelings that you have as a mother, a surrogate, a mom who has a surrogate, she can go to work at 5:00, and at 6:00 she can be a new mom.
Right, which is just mind-blowing.
And that's just like, and then at 7:00 she can be in a meeting. So she's not dealing with any. And then you're telling her, you need to do skin to skin. Okay, I'm going to do what? It's switching those gears. And you can't switch those gears with so dramatically. You have to give her comfort in knowing that, listen, we're going to have the baby, and you have to start holding her hand and telling her it's okay if you don't connect in the limp and drool. And the limp and drool is...
What's the limp and drool?
The limp and drool is the infant, because everything is wobbly and they're drooling, and you don't know how to give that, because that's a part of it's like babies have this period where you can't take pictures with them because they break out,
I didn't know that.
They have like acne that shows up. And that's the mother's hormones that pop out on the baby's skin. But if you don't have that child, you don't know that hormone switch has happened. So you don't know how to deal with that. So that's what I'm saying. Those hormones aren't there for you to feel emotions during that limp and drool stage.
Right. The limp and drool
stage. So I always tell them, if you don't connect in the limp and drool, don't beat yourself up.
It's going to take a little time.
Take a little time and just learn what you can learn so you can be supported. And then when they get older, you can have the conversations. You can talk about it, write them love letters during this time to say how important you are to my life and how important I am to your life. Tell them how it's been, and then when your children get older, they can relate to you.
So what are some breastfeeding do's and don'ts? Like you're coming home, what are some tips for breastfeeding?
Don't think that when you come home because you say, oh, my friend breastfed, I'm going to breastfeed. Don't think that that's going to happen. Everyone, like you said, everyone does not produce milk. Every child latches differently. And don't think that it's going to happen just like that. It's not a lickety-split thing. It's going to take time. It's going to be another stage of your life, because you're going to have to eat better. You're going to have to be very conscious of what you're putting in. You can't smoke. You can't do those things so you're committing to another stage of your life. So you need to think this out because, breastfeeding is all encompassing to your life, because that milk that you're making goes to your child. And once you eat it or once you drink it, it goes straight to your child instantly. So it's like that, like most of my parents, I tell them what you ate at dinner will show up during the night. I've had parents who would sneak chocolate and thought I didn't know about it. Hell, I knew about it because the child was having gas. And I'd go, okay, what did you have? Okay, let's talk about this. So always, if you're having an issue with a child, think about your diet. What have you put in? Because what you put in is what you get out.
We used to do some pump and dumping.
Yes.
I used to love my wine.
Yes.
And I just have to, I'd go, when I first went out, I was
Yes.
like, had a few margaritas.
That's
and I was
right.
like, and this was like liquid gold because I
That's
didn't
right.
get milk. And I was like,
But it's important.
and how do you know if the baby's not getting enough milk?
Oh, because they'll be ravishing. They'll try and they'll root around, like they'll try to go for your neck, or they're fussy, and you need to give them, again, that's why I say the buffet's been open. So now you're going, oh, they just ate 5 minutes on one side and 5 on another, they should be full. Really? They had every opportunity to continue to eat. Don't cut them off like that.
And then in terms of prepping for a baby when a baby comes home, what are the 3 things that everybody needs to have in their home?
Burp cloth, diapers, and food.
That's it.
That's it. They need food for themselves because they got to make food for their child. But the burp cloth and the diapers, and the kid will need like a T-shirt or something. All this other stuff is just really us. It's not the child. If you need swaddles to swaddle, and I say swaddles, a blanket to wrap your child in. You don't need 3/4 of the stuff you buy is just null and void. And the child grows so quickly, they don't wear 3/4 of the stuff you buy for them. You go, oh, you wanted them to put that on. They didn't want that shit. They needed a diaper that they could poop in and a T-shirt that they could change into when they spit up on. And a burp cloth so that they wouldn't get on your clothes. That's
Then
it.
the poop changes. I mean, I remember
it's
being,
so
I was
changes.
like, what is this?
Yes, meconium is the first one. That's the black char that shows up. And then after that passes, then you start, and that's your meter for their billy ribbon count. Once that changes, then you got several days in there where there'll be jaundice. Jaundice is very common. It's more common with breastfed babies than formula fed.
And that's when they turn yellow.
Yes, and you can monitor that by putting your fingerprint on them. And the longer your fingerprint stays, take your ass back to the hospital, because that means your baby has a high jaundice count. And once that starts to dissipate really quickly, that means that it's gone away. And it really kind of reads around 9 or 11 are the numbers that they say, okay, you're good. But yeah, you need to keep up with those things. And then it goes from that to mustard seed and cottage cheese. And it doesn't really kind of stink. If you have organic formula, which I think every person should have organic formula, I hate that we have what we have on the market because it causes gas. And the first thing parents think is that my child is colic, or my child has reflux, or he has acid, whatever. He does not. He has a really shitty formula that the market has put out here and not caring about our children and their digestive systems. But that's just me and
Do
my...
you have a favorite formula?
Oh,
that you
yes,
love?
I do.
What
I
is
really
it?
do.
Just tell we are not being paid. I just want to know Nanny Connie's favorite.
I love Holly and I love Hip. I love any organic formula, but Holly and Hip are organic and they're European, and I've used them for maybe 17 years now, and they are it is just amazing, the difference. And then Malicon is my other thing that I have.
I remember that.
It's the look and go, and
that's,
it's not even pink anymore. It's white.
And that's used for what? Acid reflux?
It's for gas.
Okay.
And we need to, and parents need to understand this. Gas just doesn't happen because a child took a bottle. Gas happens every time they open their mouth. If they open their mouth, they swallowed air. Because they don't know how to swallow. They're learning. They have to learn everything. That's what I'm saying. We forget they have to learn everything. So when they open their mouth and they act like Bernie Mac going, they're swallowing air. Right. And that air goes down in their stomach and it hurts. So we have to break that up. So don't think like if you put them in their car seat, I always tell my parents, if you put the child in the car seat, especially an infant, give them gas drops because they're sitting there and they're gulping.
Like I'm doing right now.
Yes, you're bending over. So you have to stretch that diaphragm, and don't walk with your child facing the wind. Hell, it's not a dog that's like with the head bobbing out the window. They're trying to swallow air. So face them this way. And if it's a windy day, make sure you cover them. Old school is you couldn't go out the house without a hat or something covering your child because they were protective of the wind.
And what about teething? What are some of the Nanny Connie tips for teething?
Teething is I would freeze bananas. I'd freeze bagels. It
hurts them.
It's very hurtful. There are organic teething medications. It is a process. And know this, if your child teethes early, if it's a girl, she's going to go through her cycle and stuff early. Everything, it's an indicator. These things we don't understand and realize, but if your child a girl has early teething, if they teethe early, then they'll have their cycle early. And the menopause will come early. So these are like kind of milestones to your life that we don't even connect our dots and how we're here and why we're here.
You've never liked anybody to rock the babies. And
Hell no.
You told me that, and I've still rocked the baby. Anytime I have a baby, I rock that baby. What are the reasons that you don't think that you should do that?
A parent shouldn't rock a baby because they need to learn a baby. And that's like skin to skin. If you put a child to you and you give them you radiate your emotions and how you're feeling. If you're rocking, you'll sit there and you won't connect to your feelings. So your child is missing something that's so important to their life. So I need you to learn how to project your feelings onto your child. And rocking doesn't allow you that ability. And in this day and time, we have so many little things that like our phone, we'll sit here on our phone and we'll be rocking and we won't connect with our child, but the motion will put our child to sleep. I don't do rocking beds. I don't do any of that shit because you have carried this child and you are connecting with this child and you wanted this child, so you gonna learn this child. And that's the beginning of it.
And pacifiers.
I think if you feel a child full, they don't need a pacifier as much as you think they need it.
I don't think I listened to you for that part
it's all
either.
good.
Noise machines. Do you like them or no?
I think they can be beneficial. I think one should live on the outside of your door, so what's happening in your house doesn't filter in. I think you could start off with one because my biggest thing is when your child is very upset, you can the first thing you want to do is because the first sound they hear is shh, So when your child is really upset, there's a drop in what you're doing with it, squat and up, and each time you go up and down like that, there you go. But you want to do it with a rhythmic kind of deal. And then you want to exhale. It's kind of like when you get ready to give birth and you want to shh, right. So that kind of sound, I think white noise, pink noise, I think you can give that to them. I don't think it should be a crutch I don't think blackout drapes should be a crutch. I think your child should learn to sleep daytime, nighttime, wherever time, because life doesn't dictate that everything's going to be perfect for their sleep. So they need to learn how to sleep in what world we have.
One of the best advice that you ever gave me was your child needs to live in your world.
Yes.
You don't live in your child's world.
Yes.
And I've taken that throughout my whole life, which is, when I travel, they travel.
Right.
When I'm working, it's mommy time. When I'm, so it's, obviously I'm not perfect with that, but I think when you just give up your whole self for your child, that's sending the wrong message to them, that they are the center of the universe, and they already think they're the center of the universe. Right. And if they're spoiled and if they're bratty, that's your fault. Right. That's not that child's fault. That child did not come out of your womb like that. So I think just even starting with them being tiny infants, which is like, okay, you have to adapt to my world.
Yes, that's so important. And in that instance of learning how to adapt to your world, it's like don't give them the whole world to pacify because you want to do, you sometimes you have to sit there and go through that emotion with them, because if you kind of go, okay, you can have it because you want to move on from it, life isn't like that. So it's that other side of it too, that you learn very quickly and they learn. But if you start off that way, Mary Alice, you are setting yourself up for success. And I can't tell you, Mathilde was so cute. She instantly, because we didn't have text messages, she called me and goes, Nanny Connie, I just want you to know I'm on a girls' trip and we have our kids. And I'm on the back porch having my margarita watching the sun. And everyone else is in the room putting foil on the windows trying to get their kids. So thank you, Nanny Connie. Thank you. I'm going to have one more for you.
Finally, as we close,
Yes.
for every single mom out there listening, future mom, present mom, any parent, any caregiver, what are the 3 tips that you want to give to these women that are listening that maybe can't afford you or someone like you, that you think that every new parent should have?
Number 1, I think you should not judge yourself by your friends. Listen closely to what they're saying, but don't feel that all of that applies to your life and your journey as being a parent. I think less is best. Don't buy all the gadgets in the very beginning because you don't need all of the gadgets. You are the gadget, and your husband is the gadget. Shut your house down and learn how to work that gadget. That's the first gadget you need to learn how to work. And the third thing is go by the Nanny Connie way, because in that book, I'm going to talk to everybody and you're going to be able to say the things and you're going to know how to say the things to that grandmother who showed up wearing perfume or lipstick and you didn't know how to say it. Nanny Connie has a way to say it, and I'll surely help you out. So go buy the Nanny Connie way.
And where can everybody buy the book?
They can buy the book on Amazon. They can buy it in their bookstore. And
it's called The Nanny Connie Way?
The Nanny Connie Way. And I apologize, but Nanny Connie was on her way when she thought that she didn't have the Nanny Connie Way with her.
Or otherwise we would show you what the book looks like.
And on top of that, in my connection of helping parents, I have it's called the Nanny Connie Connection. I help parents figure out their nannies and help them set their houses up for success and knowing how to do it. Like right now, I'm putting nannies that they've already hired, teaching them the how to make the nanny and the parents learn each other, because you pay, as you said earlier, we pay big money for nannies now. So we don't just need to pay it and turn them loose. And the nannies need to feel supported. So I'm that mediator. That's my new position, is just coming in, mediating, helping both parents and nannies connect and be supported and feel and that they're heard.
You need to be your own talk show, because you are. But it's true. I feel so blessed to have had you, and I feel blessed for my children, and everybody that I know feels that way. But now women that there's only one of you, but now there's a way for all women to get great tips.
Yes.
All moms, all dads, all parents, you name it, they can get your book. And I just love you and thank you for coming today.
I love you. I will never stop loving the Haney girls and Mathilde Villery and Mrs. Villery and her essence that absorbed into my world and my life. So thank you. I appreciate you for having me. I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to share my message, because it is something that all mothers need to hear, and all fathers and support staff need to hear, how to approach this, because the family entity is being lost. And that's sad. And then we need to get back. And this is how we need to get it back on track. And us Southern girls know how to do it.
We know how to do it.
We know how to do it.
Thanks so much for tuning in to SHEMD. For a link to Nanny Connie's books and more postpartum tips, visit shemdpodcast.com. And remember, if you want to own your own health, follow us on social media at SHEMD Podcast. Subscribe to our show on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts to stay strong, healthy, and empowered.